So one question that I'm gonna ask every single person that I have on this show moving forward is meme or dream. Is this deck, after you've played it, after you've succeeded with it, do you think that this deck is just a meme at the end of the day, or is it the dream and it's actually spicy but also successful? Is it meme or dream?
Do you need to ask that? Really? It's obviously Dream. It's like the top tier
All
meta,
right.
top tier set of meta deck now.
What is up, Carsi, also known as Kajunius on Twitter, as you guys see there. And thank you, first off, very much for joining me, Carsi, man. What's up? How you doing today?
Thank you for having me, JDoza.
Yep, yeah.
I'm fine, I'm fine. Thank you for having me, like I said. And I'm super excited being here with you and do these spicy things.
Awesome. Yeah, this is going to be technically the first ever episode of what I'm doing called Bring the Spice, which I'm going to try to every single week basically find a player on the competitive scene, whether it's in a league or just a tournament like the OLS, Duels of Shurima, whatever it might be, that brought some crazy concoction of a deck and actually did well with it. Carsi here brought some Legion Marauder deck, PNZ and Noxus, to the LRA on Monday it was. So I wanted to get Carsi on here, get his thoughts on the deck, and see why in the heck he decided to run it. So before we get into that though, Carsi, tell me a bit about yourself, man. What's up? Tell us a little bit about Carsi.
I'm Carsi5 in games and Cayunius in social networks, right? I'm from Venezuela. I'm 21 years old, and I'm currently studying a computer science degree because someday I would like to become a recognized game developer. I really do love card games, and sometimes, for the sake of the show, I like to troll caster with weird plays and spicy decks, like the Legion's Marauder.
Yeah. Well, listen. For me personally, Carsi, it's not. You're not trolling me at all. I love it. I think it's great. I love it.
Oh shit!
And I tell Boulevard all
It's
the
really
time.
funny to watch the customers like, what just happened? Why is he playing that? And it's like, oh, it's just entertaining and amusing,
It is. It
right?
is. And I'm very thankful to have players like you bring decks like that. Those of you who don't know what the LRA is, this is why we're here. Carsi did bring a Legion Marauder PNZ Noxus deck to the LRA last week on Monday. It was actually day one. Day two was kind of done a little bit differently because of some issues going on with the servers and friend challenges and stuff like that. But the LRA is actually it's a league, Southern American League, that has 12 teams. It's closed to the 12 teams. And on Monday, we had Crypto Esports, FFF, Wizard Gaming, OTK, Ninetales Esports, and El Sharingo, which actually used to be Gears. From what I know, I think Gears disbanded, and now they're known as El Sharingo. It's Cardlock, right,
Yeah,
Carsi?
they just changed their name, but the players are still the same.
Okay, cool.
And in Spain, they're years, and here they're El Chiringo.
All right, cool. So that's just a little bit about the LRA. So anybody who doesn't know what that is, you can find LRA stuff, LRA games, and whatnot on my website. Those videos will be up there if you guys want to check out the matches. We're gonna take a look at a match in a second from Carsi, but before that, I want you to explain. I want you to explain the deck a little bit, Carsi.
Okay, meanwhile, I'll explain some things. As you can see, the deck is aiming to demolish the meta. I mean, it is more powerful than 50F, obviously. And no, seriously. The deck lives in a similar universe where a Real Driver lives, but Marauderized. That means, in general terms, you start the game with your board controlling tools and try to outvalue your opponent's resource, and then close the games with some big Marauders army instead of vanilla Pharaoh flavor. So here you can see, you would say, how the heck I stole the game? Well, the deck has some interesting Tricots units, like the Arachnoid Sentry and the Torm of the Rose, which those two lets you stun enemy units, right? Like this obviously punish developing instead of open attack, right? So you might say, oh, then how you deal with open attacks? Well, the deck also is equipped with the powerful and cheap board removals from PNC and Noxus, like the Mystic Shot, the Ravenous Flock, the Static Shot, and even an early Thermogenic Being could save you from an opponent pre-developing on your attack turn, right? You can see here some cards that it isn't common, like Bloody Business or Whispered Words. You actually could trigger that very easily with a Legion Marauders or a LeBlanc,
Hmm.
because they will grow up as they attack, and they will trigger up reputation very easily, right?
Hmm.
So going with LeBlanc, you could use it as a super tool or like a pressure tool because you could play it turn 3 and force your opponent to waste resource or invest resource on killing them, right?
Hmm.
So they would have less answers to your powerful marauders. Maybe you'll see some similarities between these cards, right? Could you tell me, please, how much mana crystal does Legion Marauders, Ezreal, LeBlanc, and your steel units cost?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess 3. I think.
Oh, and which card benefits the most when you play a 3 mana card?
I'm try something with a beam in it. I think try something, right?
The Tribune, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tribune Improvisator. So while you are either stalling the game or putting some board pressure or following your Marauders game plan, if you lose the control of the situation for some reason, you're backed up with your charged Tribune and are still capable of turning things to your side of the game, right?
I know. I just
Tell
wanted to
me,
add. Well, I wanted to add something too because I played this deck a little bit on ladder, right?
right?
And I first off it was super fun. Secondly, something I wasn't really I don't know. I just wasn't really prepared for it. Was the fact that like even a strength in numbers or getting 2 Legion Marauders on board at the same time, one attack gets them up to that 5 attack strike range, and
Yeah, and if you attack previously with at least one Marauder,
yeah.
they're like
Hmm.
6-5 or 7-6. It's like
Hmm.
crazy big units. You need to deal with them or they will end the game, right?
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. So
Uh,
I think
what?
that's oh my god, playing strength in numbers to get even just the 2 out in the field. It seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it like a good play to just on turn 5 play strength in numbers? Like that feels like a really strong play.
Depends of the matchup because if you are versus Lysandra Trundle, you want to first attack with the Marauder. So then the two Marauders coming straight up from strength numbers
Hmm.
will have 3 health, so they will be out of range of avalanche. Because if you turn 5, strength numbers, they avalanche, they just win the game, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed playing it was that my opponent would make the mistake of not removing the first Marauder and letting just one attack go off. And that one attack's
Yeah,
actually a big deal because 2 health to 3 health is a huge break point for all of the new
yeah.
Marauders that come out. So yeah, that makes sense. You know, you get it on turn 3, you attack once, then on turn 5, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to deal with 2. What is that? 4 3s that are going to be on board. So um,
Yeah, or
yeah.
even if the first one survives, you have 3-4-3 on board,
Mhm.
then you attack and you have 3 units, 7-6 attacking, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, Shenmue GG,
Mhm.
right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
What
Yep.
feels good about these Legion Marauder decks is that even if you are sad and you don't draw Marauders at all, you don't necessarily install lose the game. In this scenario, you could go for a Charge 3 Imperviolator Wincon or a Ezreal Wincon or stall the game enough so uh, your opponents runs of resources and you could outvalue them.
This is the game. So we actually were
Yeah,
joking earlier about how you have a tendency to disconnect, and unfortunately, for those of you who don't know, game one
yeah,
versus your opponent, you actually disconnected on like turn 5 or something. And I mean, me and Boulevard were casting. We thought you would have been able to come back and actually win that one. This game actually went the whole 9 yards. So, Carsi, if I'm gonna play
Actually, it
this,
was dark magic disconnecting.
yeah,
It's a powerful spell that lets you sacrifice one game and win the others two. It's a private art, right?
yeah,
A new
yeah,
card.
it's a black magic.
Spoiler season.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll play this. If you want to just kind of walk us through some of your decisions here and why you did what you did, I think that'd be pretty awesome for anybody looking to play this deck, right?
Right. First, at the mulligan, I see, oh shit, I have no Marauders. This would go wrong. But hey, I have a Trivian Imperolator, so I must keep this Imperolator and mulligan away my spells, so I could draw Marauder, and if I don't draw Marauder, I still keep my 3 cost unit to stall the game, right? To have access to a stun and meanwhile charge my 3 beam. And maybe that will give me enough time so I draw my Marauder. Mhm.
I just wanna stop you. So the first two turns, because when I played this, is it like were you finding that you were usually just passing the first two turns and banking the 3 spell mana, like not really playing much,
Yeah,
unless
normally you want to bank up the 3 spell mana so you could play a strength in numbers
yeah, okay.
the as soon as turn 5, or normally you would draw some spells and you would spend those mana doing like mystic shots or
Mhm.
thermogenic beam or a spell mana to do the 1 mana stun that the turn the draws and generates, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and I actually like. So it's interesting too that this is the game that we chose. Obviously, the other one you disconnected, but this game it's looking like too. I mean, we're heading into what turn 7 here, and it's looking like you're still not finding Legion Marauder, and this is a pretty good example, I think, Carsi, of how this stalls, how this deck is able to stall the game out and just prevent dying long enough to find
Yeah,
one of these
you see
Marauders.
my opponent play trash, and I killed the trash with a thermogenic beam, and now he plays another trash, and I'm like, oh well, here we go. I need to kill another trash, and here my opponents use a Rite of Negation, right, which is one of the most scary cards of with this deck to
Yep.
face off, because they can deal with your charge tripping improvement and with your exchange numbers, right?
Yep.
So you want them to play it out and waste the resource, that important resource, on something that you doesn't really matter, like this 1 mana stone, right? Before I could get the Marvelous Marauders, right?
Hmm. Ooh, I like that. The marvelous Marauders. I like that. Look at the
Yeah.
alliteration there. All right, all right.
Actually, I have a surprise, but I was kind of reserving these marvelous things to some future turns, but I still have another surprise for you to be aware of.
I'm impressed. All right, I'm looking forward to that surprise now. I'm looking forward to it. So, another thing I really, and you mentioned this briefly a little earlier, but I will say it feels, and it doesn't happen often, but it feels really rewarding when I did play this deck to get mirror images onto a Legion Marauder. Like that feels like
Yeah.
such an OP combo that it's hard to get because I mean LeBlanc in general, there's not a whole lot of decks where you get mirror image and it actually does a lot of work. But this deck, when you do get it off, you absolutely obliterate your opponent. Those Legion Marauders just become way too big.
It's like I copy my unit buff my other unit,
Yep.
and
Get
so
another mirror
often it
image.
will attack and get another mirror image.
Yep.
It's like, oh, thanks, I now can generate another unit. But it's like a odd trick to do, because you're passing priority to your enemy,
Hmm.
and most of the times you don't want to pass priority to your enemy, so you could use the mirror image to defend yourself, right? On a defensive play. Oh wow, here comes the boom.
Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah.
And my opponent's like, no, no, it doesn't matter. I went this turn. I will attack with a big bar, a white board. But I'm like, no, no. I think you won't. I think you won't attack with that bar. The Marauders will come up and will
Yep.
finish this game. This mirror image can be used on Marauders, and because he's free attack, right?
Hmm.
So I must use it this turn to create a defensive LeBlanc. But hey, LeBlanc blocking and the other LeBlanc blocking will generate another mirror image, so I
Hmm.
could use it again next turn. It's like cycling itself.
You top
No,
deck another one.
I draw another Marauder just after the other, and I'm like, oh, this is good. This is RNG playing Marauders time without any disconnections. You could see my opponent here stab out Nasus plus Atrocity range because he played the
Yep.
Sun Soldier, right? I'm like, hey man, you just open the doors for me to play my mirror image, get another LeBlanc, and attack with me Marauders without worrying of tapping off mana
Hmm.
for answering your Nasus atrocity, right? I
Right.
tried to play it on Marauders, and then I see like, hey,
It's
oh,
five
I
attack.
didn't
Yeah.
attack with Marauder. It's five. Oh shit. Well, I must mirror image LeBlanc,
Yep.
but I really would like to do it on Marauders. So maybe I'll just have to attack with my two Marauders, and
We'll do it
then
next
I
turn.
could use my I'll do it next round and maybe win with Marauders.
Or
So
strength in
let's
or yeah.
see. And here there are the
I was gonna say
Fierce
strength in
Marauders.
numbers.
This actually, if you see, I draw Marauder number one, then draw Marauder number two, and then draw Marauder number
Yep.
three after stalling 10 turns in the game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you managed to survive. No, you could play your Marauders now, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I remember. So although we didn't get like the dream of strength in numbers in this particular game with the Marauders out, this is I remember this turn going down in this back and forth with the Nasus and with
I
the
was thinking
atrocity.
like,
Oh
oh
man.
shit, if he has atrocity, I maybe lose.
Yeah.
So I should play like he won't atrocity me,
For the scorched earth.
but I still need to deal with the Nasus, right? So I first try to damage them, so I could scorch it her, right? But he doesn't outro. I think, oh well, how could I deal with Nasus without spending my sure kill scorch it her? I maybe
Yep.
lose my LeBlanc, but Bloody Business will kill it, right? And if he outdraw like he did,
And now you have the
I
scorched.
could scorch it there, and it's this kind of mind games you play when you bluff one card
Hmm.
and play another, and they say, "Oh, yeah, you don't have it," and your opponent stop playing around that card, and then you play that card, and they're like, "Oh, but you must don't have it, right?" But you have it, and you win the game.
I don't remember if you open attacked or if you
I
actually
thought,
played the. Okay.
I
Yes.
thought
Sorry. You
open
played
attacking, but
it.
why not? Also,
We got the
there's
combo. That's what
no
matters.
punish for it. And here it comes. Here it comes the boom. Here comes the marvel of the magnificent Marauders, right? It's like, bro, what do you wanna do? Press Herbarium me? Okay, I'll just buff my Marauders and attack and have
Seven
the
6.
two
Oh
seven
man.
six units, and LeBlanc just be there for be a witness of the Marauders Legion.
Well, man, listen, Carsi, I am super happy to have you on as the first person here going through a
I'm
spicy deck.
happy here.
Yep. It's been an
Yeah,
awesome time. This is gonna set the tone for the rest of these episodes as I start bringing some more people on and seeing who can bring the spice. All right.
Spicers and Marauders,
Yeah.
I think.
It's gonna be hard.
No,
It's gonna be
but
hard.
let's see.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
hard.
maybe a Bubblefish turn, Bubble Bear, sorry, deck,
Listen, if
right?
somebody can bring a bubble bear deck, that's gonna be impressive. But see, here's the kicker though. This isn't just some random person bringing a random spicy deck. You gotta do well with it. You gotta like top or something and actually do well with it. And that's why I really want to focus on those sort of decks for this. Again, anybody, if you guys want to check out the actual LRA games from this tournament, links will be in the description below. If you want to go ahead and check those out. If you want as well, there's going to be a blog post that you can check out on my website where Carsi actually took the time to answer some of these questions a little bit more in detail. So if you guys want to check that
Was
out.
pretty fun to ask, really. And if you want to find like a more in-depth guide of the deck, if you want it, what are you waiting? Go to the post and read the blog.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. What are some last thoughts, Carsi?
Do your best. Do it with the best Cayunius style.
Hey, all right. Good to hear. Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. So, as always, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, the first ever episode of Bring the Spice, baby. And as always, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out, everybody.